Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have James Shaffer on the line, and he's the owner over at Anuviance Entertainment. And just so you know, this episode is part of our AFM series where we'll bring you the best of those who attended and participated in the American film market and get to know what they're up to, what kind of projects they're working on. So, James, first thing, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, James. So lots to talk about here today. I definitely want to get into the film you're working on right now, Freedom at Missionary Ridge, and then also talk about some of your background and how you got into the business and into making films. But to get us kicked off here, AFM, how was your experience this year? Have you been in the past? Give me some of the backstory. First year?
Actually, this was my very first year. Last year was recommended for me to go. And I didn't go based on you spend a lot of money here and you spend money there and nothing really comes out of the money that you spend trying to promote yourself. But this year I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and take a chance. And it's the best move I've ever made. I should have done it years ago.
Oh, man. Wow, that's amazing. I love it. I love when somebody sticks their neck out and they're rewarded. That's awesome. So what made this experience good? Talk to me about the experience.
Well, going to the place before you go, when you register, they kind of let you know the exhibits, the people who are going to be there and what they're doing there and what they're looking for. And you get information that I know some people probably would kill for. You get the actual names and addresses and contact information of people who will buy your movie, do all those things so you can live your dreams and accomplish your goals. So that as I'm there and I'm enjoying all of the different exhibitors, I'm wearing just to give you the whole example, I'm wearing a T-shirt with some black cowboys on it, and I'm wearing my cowboy hat. So people are instantly walking up to me, questioning me about, is that your film? Is this your project? And of course it was. It's a black cowboy movie. So I was able to attract more than just exhibitors who were there at the show. So for me, it's an absolute wonderful experience. And I would recommend it for every young filmmaker. Yeah,
it's great. And thank you for sharing that. But let's get into your background. So how did you get involved in film?
Well, actually, we can start as a child. I loved Westerns. I would run home from school just to turn on the TV and watch Rowdy Yates, to watch Big John, to watch Festus and Marshall Matt Dillon. So these things I grew up playing. So when I would go outside, video games weren't as popular as they are now. So I would go out, and me and my friends, we would play all the little games. So this is something as a child that I grew up with. It's not something new. It's something that I've always dreamt, right? I've dreamt in cowboy movie, right? So as I get older, though, as I get older,
that's awesome.
I kind of grew out of it. And I started driving a truck, and I ended up buying my own trucking business, and I had gotten, and that wasn't the career for me. So I had gotten out of it, and to get something going, I started going to Los Angeles Film School so I could learn how to make film, because I had been shooting multiple different music videos for friends and family in my neighborhood. And it was cool, but I always wanted to do more. I always wanted to make the skits deeper. I didn't just want to do simple music videos. The music videos were cool, but they were simple. So when it comes to wanting to create movie and wanting to be able to do that, it's just something that's natural. It's nothing that like you look at the money that these people make and you say, hey, I want to do that because of them. The money never really came into play. It's always been the art form of filmmaking for me.
Yeah. And I'm curious about, so let's get into what you're working on right now. So Freedom at Missionary Ridge. How do you want to tee up this film? Where do you want to start with that one?
Law in the Wild West. It was brutal. It was fast. It was by the gun. There was no other way. If you thought you could walk out here and come from New York and just set up shop out here, you were bound to be found dead. This was a different time. This was a different area. And the law it only existed in a few handguns. And one of them was a gentleman named Bass Reeves. That is where my movie begins, with Bass Reeves. He became...
That's good, man.
He became the Lone Ranger, man, you know? He would do things like Belle Star, but she found out that dude had her warrant because he was a cop, so he had the warrant for arrest for her. When she found out that he was coming for her, she turned herself in. And this is the kind of guy this guy was. He was a Marvel hero back in 1863. It was incredible. So this is why I started writing.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love this. I love what you're creating. And so what's it like for you to how do you get this idea to start? And then you're like, okay, this is going to be the one. Like, how does that happen for you? Because a lot of people have a lot of ideas, but to get something to completion, like, how did you know this was going to be the one?
I didn't know it was going to be the one, but I had a passion for it because I've written a few other movies. I have 2 more cowboy films and a horror film and a modern gangster type film that I've written. But this one became special because of the character himself. I took a real interest in the fact that he had not even been represented properly in his skin color. So those things drew me into curiosity as to why. And so I got involved in just studying about this particular individual because I wanted to know more. And I ended up talking to his last living relatives who they live in Oklahoma to this day. And I got to question them as to their great-great-grandfather, how in his life. And then they gave me all the information that they had on him. So it kind of brings it home. It brings it in a one big circle as to this thing is bigger than me. It's not really about me at all. It's a story that just needs to be properly told.
Yeah. What was that like working with the family? I always find that interesting, like when you're going and trying to figure things out and it's almost like being a detective on one end. How was that like?
It was pretty intense. It took a lot of research. There was a lot of books, a lot of Googling, talking to prominent Bass Reeves aficionados of the time, getting information from them. There are groups of filmmakers in Arizona, and they have certain characters who are played by certain individuals because they have went and studied the history on that individual. And so when it comes to that individual, they're like a book that you can turn. They got pages and pages that you can turn to find out more about that character. So I spoke to those people, you know what I mean? And they drug me even deeper down the rabbit hole into this guy and what he was about.
I can see that. That's awesome. Yeah. The name of the movie, where'd that come from? Freedom at Missionary Ridge. What does it mean?
It means that this is where freedom was gained for the nation. At the end of the war, at the end of the Civil War, at the end of this war, this was one of the last battles of the Civil War. So that's why it's titled Freedom at Missionary Ridge.
Yeah, that's great. Where are you at with the film right now? Where are you at in the production?
Actually, based on my recent activity at American Film Market, I was able to come up with one investor who has invested 25%, and I have a lead from that investor to a group of people who may cover the budget that I have for the film. So,
man, that's awesome.
It was, it's absolutely unbelievable.
I love it. That's great. I love to see people making their dreams happen and to see something that you wrote and something go from the page to the big screen. That's the dream right there, right?
Man, that's the biggest dream of all, right? It's going to be in a book also. I have a book coming out, Freedom at Missionary Ridge. Here in the next month or so, it'll be released everywhere. It'll be on Amazon, everywhere. This is pretty much going to tell the story of the film. But the film, of course, has other nuances in it that makes it more enjoyable to watch.
No, this is great. James, man, this has been great talking to you today and meeting you and getting to know you about your work and your film, Freedom at Missionary Ridge. And that being said, I mean, if people are listening and watching this and they want to follow up and continue to follow your work, how do they do that? Well,
you can go on James Shaffer, YouTube. Not James Monkey Shaffer, because that's the rock and roll star. Every time, even when I go, he comes up first because he's a big name and I'm just James. But I have a YouTube page. I have a page, a Nuvians page that you can go to, and I have a James Shaffer page that you can go to. And I also have a King Hod, KINGHAAD, King Hod YouTube page. So any of those pages will lead you to everything that I've ever done.
Perfect. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, this is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And James, man, appreciate you coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing this film. So thanks again.
Hey, no problem, and thank you, man. Glad to be on the mission with you.